So over the last 12 months, my coaching business has signed well over 50 people on a $10,000 plus offer. In today's video, I'm going to show you the three-step implementation you can do to replicate the exact same results. If I could have watched this video back then, I probably would have doubled that number. If you're wondering who I am, my name's Alex Newman. I run a coaching business in the marketing space and do over 160K a month. And now I make these videos to share all the systems, funnels, offer, and everything that we do over there. So the first step out of three, which is actually the easiest, is going to be to convince our customers. Fundamentally, an offer and the way we're going to charge more is by taking someone from a point A state, so where they are right now, to a point B state. And relative to the size that we're actually helping them is the amount that we can charge. So really, the big way that we're going to create and actually improve our offer is by creating a bigger transformation. So I'll give you an example. If we're working with online fitness coaches, and right now, let's say they start at 200 pounds, a small offer would be, oh, well, we helped them lose 10 pounds, right? What is 10 pounds worth? Now, if we were to increase that to 50 pounds, or let's say 100 pounds, if they want to lose even more weight, that's increasing the size of the actual offer and the mechanism that we're giving them, which as a turn also increases the amount of value that they perceive. So fundamentally, what we're addressing is that the point A state, so where they start now, and the point B state, which is where they end up, the size of that is what determines our offer's value. Now, a big part of actually making this happen is you can promise the world. You can say, hey, I'll generate you $1 million, but the big factor that's actually going to be relevant is believability. So what do I mean by that? If a prospect believed 100% of what you said and you have a genuine good money back guarantee, you've got case studies and et cetera, people would buy from you 100% of the time. The issue is that they don't believe you 100% of the time. So a huge part about nurturing and actually building up that trust is by structuring your offer in a way that makes sense. So the three key marks to doing this. First off, we have our A state. So we want to define this as something that is very principal and addresses them and calls them out where they're currently at. The more specific we can get the A state, the more it's going to resonate. We want to call out where they are right now, but the pains that they're facing, and then also what their life looks like. So if we're doing the example of the fitness, the life that they have as a result of that is that they can't fit into clothes, they feel conscious about their weight all the time, they have to watch what they eat even though they really just want to have fun, and it's just not a good life. And the fears that we address as a result of that are the anxiety, the pain, and all of that, I guess, negative emotion that's conjuring their current state, which causes the fact that they want to change and go to the B state. So once we've got that outlined, that is going to be the primary marketing. And the more specific we can get this, the more believability we're going to generate. The reason why prospects don't believe what you're saying is because of something I call the unicorn fallacy. What this means is that every single person thinks they're unique. They think their situation is special and they think that they are one of a kind. And to address the unicorn fallacy is to be very specific about what they're offering. So if everyone's going to think that they're this one of one and that their problems are completely unique, you need to go very specific on your marketing and wording so that you can address them and relate to real life things that happen in their life. You don't have to define them, but you have to find key mutual moments that you know they're going to experience that make them go, oh, that's my life, and actually have them treat your offer seriously because you understand that it's touching on things that are actually relevant to their day to day and that pain that they're experiencing over there. When I said that they can't fit into clothes, that might be something they're actually dealing with on a day to day basis. So, what that does in the marketing is it now makes them associate whatever guarantee you're going to explain over here with the fact that all this pain exists. And that fundamentally is something that I don't see a lot of coaching businesses do in the first place. They don't understand that a big part about addressing the eye in the sky, that dream state over here, is about first off anchoring it in the pain of where they're currently at. Because if you don't anchor it in the pain of where they're currently at, they don't know where they're at relative to that goal. So once you've done that and you've created believability by having hyper specific messaging, and the way you implement that, by the way, is not by going out and just writing this crazy long copy. It's about having pure callouts and split testing certain key one-liner angles that you want to consistently rotate till you find the ones that resonate the most. And if you reverse engineer and if you followed some of the frameworks in my own coaching business videos, you're going to realize that a lot of these events, especially if you're someone teaching from experience, are things that you dealt with yourself. So if you're able to tell the story of how you actually overcame that, it is going to be massive for calling out your audience, solving that unicorn fallacy, and first off, anchoring them and rooting them in truth. Once we have rooted them in truth, the second part about making them believe it is just by addressing the dream result and what they actually want to achieve. And this is the easy part of the situation. If you've read $100 million offers by Alex Hormozi, there's a few factors that we can actually do in order to make this offer sweeter. First things first is we have the guarantee that we give someone. Then we have the risk reversal upon that guarantee. We have the time that we're actually going to get them, and we have the tangible result which we're delivering. So I'll give you an example. I'm going to make you lose this amount of weight, and I'm going to do it in this amount of time, and we're going to do it through this mechanism, and it's going to happen, or I'll give you this. And that is the complete 100% great offer that you have to have. But once again, that offer is only relevant if it is rooted in pain. From that point on, the real way to justify whether you are actually going to be able to charge that $10,000 or not is to take a look at your service suite and create what I like to call a no way that's going to actually sell offer. So the way that I personally did this is I made an offer that I thought absolutely no one would buy. I stacked the most valuable done for you services. Pretty much, how could I guarantee someone that this is absolutely going to happen 100% of the time? What would that consist of? Well, in my head, that would consist of me getting on a plane, flying out to where they live, and working with them one to one over their desk, waking them up in the morning, make them work out, making them do the work internally until they can actually go ahead and achieve the result. And that was what the best offer and the best service delivery in the world would actually be. Then from that point on, I reverse engineered that process little by little, just taking very small steps until I got to something that I could actually deliver on a consistent basis. And that was my service delivery. What I did for that is I put a price tag on it. I put a price tag on the absolute best transformation and the absolute best service delivery I could ever give to somebody. And I said, oh my gosh, it's going to be 15 grand. That was the price that I actually put out. And then from that point on every single sales call that I hopped on as a part of my service suite that I mentioned to people. So not just the flagship offer that I'm selling them. I had, hey, I have this flagship offer, and then I also have this highly exclusive offer that I'm not sure if it's actually a good fit for you, but it costs this much, and pretty much here's what it consists of, and here is how it can virtually guarantee you results. And what I didn't know at this time is that there's a certain segment of the market that is always going to buy the most expensive thing. And what this meant for me is that after a few months of doing this and just taking these calls, showing people my offer, et cetera, someone bought the 15 grand offer, and I was honestly floored. I didn't think anyone would buy it at that time. And the funny thing about this whole situation is that person not only became one of my best case study clients because they achieved amazing results, they were the absolute least hassle to deal with. And that's one of the benefits of just charging more money, which you're obviously going to learn and probably why you're watching this video in the first place. So a strategy that you can implement is to do the exact same thing. You want to take your offer, you want to take the transformation that you're actually delivering to people, and you're going to want to reverse engineer what the best thing you could do for them is, and then put a price tag on that you feel completely uncomfortable charging. Then what you're going to do on the sales calls that you hop on is just going to merely mention it as something that exists that they're probably not qualified for, not the reason why we showed up today. And a lot of people are going to go, oh, well, what's that about? If they're that kind of person. And then from that point on, someone is going to either buy it or they're going to put the first split pay down on it, and it's going to forever shift the paradigm of your belief. And that as well is actually how you do the internal work to actually justify charging that much to yourself. So once you've done this, the final part about wrapping this whole system up of convincing your customers and then convincing yourself is to implement it into your marketing and to your messaging in your business. Now, this is the process and the part that a lot of people will get caught up on. And as a result, they'll have this disconnect where they get a whole bunch of unqualified leads once they already know that they can charge high ticket. And the way that you're going to shift your messaging in your coaching business is really just by the topics that you speak about. So what I mean by that is you have ideas and general content that you put out to nurture. A lot of the time, it's very top of level stuff. So the way you actually achieve this is by changing the messaging that you have in individual sections and resources that you give out to the public. So to explain what I mean, on a timeline of a customer journey of someone doing any pursuit, let's say that someone is on their e-commerce journey, there are given problems that they're going to have at each specific phase. So when they're trying to start their store, they're going to have problems like, what is my product? What is my supplier? Then when they move to the next stage, it's going to be, oh, well, how do I do ads? How do I do this service? And it's going to slowly move on, and every person is going to have different problems dependent on where they are in the journey. And what I see so many coaches mess up on is the broadest part of their audience is in the beginner phases. But if they want to charge high ticket, they have to be in the phases over here. However, the way this gets caught up is what gets the most views, what gets the most impressions from unqualified eyeballs is actually the stuff over here. And creators begin optimizing for vanity metrics to get more of these people up here, when in reality, they're trying to charge and get the people down here. And the reason why, once again, we want to charge, get the people down here is because one of these guys pays off 100 of these guys, and they're a lot easier to get, and you have a lot less effort and friction involved in the process, given you are an expert at what you do. So the way that you're actually going to go back and justify and fix all of this is by, instead of creating the content of how to start and how to solve all these beginner problems that you might currently be creating, you're going to want to think to the phase of the person that you actually want to speak to over here, and you're going to ask yourself, what is the highly specific, nuanced problem this person is dealing with on a day-to-day basis? It's likely going to be something that's boring, doesn't have a lot of search traffic, but if you create videos on that, it is going to optimize the rest of your marketing. And to explain a little bit of the strategy behind that, the biggest thing about your funnel and your offer when it comes to charging high ticket is not about the actual wording itself. The biggest place where I messed up with this personally is I thought it was all about the funnel and the offer, and I'd be creating these highly advanced landing pages that speak to these advanced problems, but then I'd be creating content to a beginner audience, then I'd be seeing a disconnect where people just aren't really interested. And then I would do the vice versa. And then I realized that if I just go ahead and create the advanced content, I don't even need to change my landing page at all in the first place, because the eyeballs that are seeing this advanced content, when they see my offer, they're going to see it in a different light. The way a beginner sees my offer and the way an advanced person sees my offer is completely different. And all that I need to change was the top of funnel content and marketing that I'm giving out to the person. And with that alone, using the internal shift and the external shift and then looping it all into my marketing messaging is how I consistently charge well over 10 grand and sign it consistently at a 33+% close rate. Appreciate your time and have a great rest of your day.